Hey, Catherine, thanks for taking a little time to talk to our students and potential students. Let me pull up some questions I got for you. So, Catherine, I know you've been graduated for some time now. I guess you know who are you and when did you graduate? We'll just start with that.
Okay, so I graduated December 2012,
Okay.
and I've kind of bounced around. I did a couple small contract positions, then I landed my first actual, I was an employee. It was pretty exciting. I worked for a company that wrote software for prosecuting attorneys. Uh, then I took the bold move and moved to Miami.
Awesome.
I worked for a startup for about a year and a half before they went under. And now, about 3 months later, I landed the position at FPL. And they are our Next Era Energy is what it is online, but they're a Fortune 200 company. So
Wow.
I've worked for them for almost 6 years. It'll be 6 years in March.
So let's get the employer. I want to make sure I get it right. You said FPL.
FPL, so it's Florida Power and Light, but that's the daughter company of Next Era Energy.
Florida Power and Light and Next Era
Energy, or
Energy.
NEE, and that's how you'll find it on the stock market.
Oh, okay. And Fortune 200, so that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so um, FPL is a sub company of NEE.
Yes.
So I got that right.
Yes.
So your technical employer is FPL.
Yes.
So you're
Well,
paying.
no, I actually work for Next Era. I
Okay.
do. I actually
Okay.
work for them. I just, as terrible as it is, I work for about 4 different companies because I technically am contracted out to FPL and some of their other subsidiaries.
Got it. Got it. Got it. So what's your job title?
What is it, my job
What
title?
is it your job?
Um, so my official job title is software engineer P. So I'm a mid-level. I am getting a promotion. I'm going from a normal, every day to a senior lead level. I've been acting as a lead for 3 years. I also work as a project manager for a lot of our projects. Um,
That's
I
funny. What
also
isn't your
this
job title? No joke. You just
yeah.
listed software engineer, you listed
Yes.
senior lead, and
Yes.
project manager.
Oh, I got one better. I am also a system architect. Uh,
Okay.
yes, I have been working with the architect team, and unfortunately, one of our members on our team got COVID in March and was out. So, I mean, him and I work hand in hand, and I do a lot of architecture stuff anyways, but I stepped into his shoes, and I've been doing that, and I like it, and that's kind of where I want to go.
Neat, neat.
But
Well,
yeah,
congrats on your promotion.
thank
Congrats. I
you.
mean, I mean that's quite. I mean, to me, that's impressive. I
Yeah.
mean, these job titles, you don't stumble into them. I'm sure you worked hard,
Oh
and
yeah.
and yeah,
Yeah.
you just don't stumble your way into roles like that. So congratulations on a successful career.
Thank you.
And not quite you graduated in 2012, so we say you started in 13. Has what, 8 years kind of thing going on, maybe
Yeah.
9. We already got a question coming in from a student. Yes, sir. What is a system architect? Could you describe what you do as a system architect?
Sure. So as part of this merger project, and as terrible as it is to say, I actually worked on another 2 different projects now where I went from one platform to another. So I actually built all of the backend infrastructure, and I said, this is what I want it to be. Now I hand it off to this, you're the developer, make it happen. But I actually came up with all the designs. I went through and said, okay, this is where the failure points are going to be. Now putting monitoring here. So if anything happens, it comes back on me and it says, oh, you messed up. You didn't do it right. You should have planned for this. So
So you made the blueprints for the software.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. What languages? Again, maybe this is a list of the short. What languages don't you use? But let's say what are the primary languages that you've used in your career?
Uh, so I started out as a .NET developer in kind of like PHP, JavaScript, like when I did the internship
Hmm.
and apprenticeship. So that I was a lot of front end. Then I went to back end. That's definitely .NET, C Sharp, VB. Um, at my startup company, I used Python and Ruby, and I actually learned it on the spot, figured it out, and created a whole API layer and on the back end, hitting the database, all of that. And I deal with Oracle, so SQL, Microsoft SQL, and I also deal with Postgres. And we're moving into Redshift and what's the other one? Mongo. So I deal with a lot of that too, where it's the non-structured, and you have to write APIs if they go in there. Right now, we are dealing with a tool called Mulesoft. So a lot of it is it's new, but it's mainly Java. I think it's Spring Boot is the actual like framework, but yeah, that's what we're using.
So today, for I guess your last employer, your current employer, I should say, for the last 6 years, has been Java,
Java and mainly SQL and
Java and SQL.
yeah,
Awesome, awesome.
yeah,
Um,
Java, not my favorite.
yeah, I understand. I understand. Um, on the job, over in your career, are there any necessary like cool software projects or interesting things that you've worked on, or has it been more just like I'm building software for, uh, I don't know, any cool software projects?
Oh, so I'll be honest, I work for marketing and customer service, and we deal with all storm related stuff. Anything power outages, because it's a power company. So anytime there's a power outage, we are responsible for sending out the communication. So there's
Ah,
actually a patent out there for power delivery where they actually ping meters and it hits the main, like some of I won't get down to the detail, but it hits meters on a what they call a lateral, and it says, "Hey, is this on?" And it'll ping it and look, and if it's not on, we create tickets. Once a ticket's created, it comes to me, and that's where we're saying, "Hey, okay, are you enrolled in this? Are we sending this out?" But I was there from the beginning, so when I first started, that was my project, and to me, it still works today. We tweak it, we make it better. It went from running, 10, 15 minutes. It's now we can get communications out in 3 minutes,
that is,
including their process.
I will say, I do find that pretty cool because um, there's so many national headlines about power outages and millions of people without power. And
Yep.
that was a big headline. I think last winter was the Texas power outage.
Yes.
And you're writing software to help minimize the amount of time that people are actually without power
Yes.
because of
Yep.
without your communication, that
Hmm.
time's going to be longer.
Yes. And a lot of it is we're giving the customer, hey, we know you're out. We have crews in the area. Hey, this is when it should be restored. Hey, go home and check and make sure you're restored. You know, it,
Ah,
it, it it's actually pretty cool.
I agree. I agree. Well done. You answered that question well. I sometimes, I don't know, for the lack of a better word, like mundane software,
Yeah.
just kind of like, oh, crunching financials or something,
Yeah.
but no, that's much cooler. What is a day in your life like as a software engineer, lead, manager, architect? What is your day like?
Okay, so I normally start about 7. So it's 6 o'clock your guys' time. I have meetings first thing. I meet with my offshore team. I talk to them. I say, hey, what, questions, what's going on, what's this? And then I am answering emails for about the next hour. And then it's the stand up. So if you know anything about Agile, I know this is new for a lot of you, but Agile, you have these stand up meetings. I have 5 of them that I sit in for the first 2 hours.
Nice.
Then
Well,
it depends on where I am in the project. Like today, it's fairly light because we had a deployment. But usually I'm meeting with business. I'm meeting with my product owners, which is marketing, and I do a lot of meetings. And then most of the afternoon, I'm doing architect stuff where I'm designing, making sure that I'm covering everything. Like today, it's going to be, hey, this is the design I have, and this is what we're going to be doing next year. These are the new projects. This is where it's going to fail. And right now, because I'm picking up, I'm going to be doing a Six Sigma black belt next year.
nice.
I'm getting everything ready for that to take that on and sign away 2 years of my life. But you know, I want it. So.
Sorry.
Mhm.
Your career. Would you say that you've written less code as your career has gone on?
Yes. Yeah. I do. I think I query more than anything because I'm helping the team investigate. But yes, I probably haven't really coded in the last 2 years.
Yeah. So coders and developers are, I guess, um, a step on a ladder, and
Mhm.
above the developing, you've got the architects and the project managers.
Yes.
And
Yeah. I
and so
mean,
you
yep.
that's where your promotion came in. You kind of wrote code for a while, and now you've promoted up the ladder, and you're doing more managerial type tasks,
Yes. Yeah.
or
And
more. I don't even know if managerial type tasks, but um,
I,
design.
yeah, design and making sure the team has everything they need.
Maybe you'd say
Because
higher level tasks.
yes, yeah, and I have the relationship with the business and the develop because you don't want somebody going, oh, this is what I want. No, you want to go, okay, that you come to me and you tell me what you want, and then I go, hey, developers, this is actually what you want.
Yeah, yeah, got it. Awesome. And you did mention to me kind of off camera that you're working a lot of hours.
Yeah,
Yeah, working a
yeah.
lot of hours. So it comes with a lot of hard work, a lot of time put in.
Yes.
Yeah. What tips would you offer any current students to help get their foot in the door?
I have a lot.
Please.
So some of them are, don't be scared of the unpaid internships. That honestly was probably the one thing that got me to really do well.
Yeah.
And, showing that and saying, oh, hey, I did this. And I went from just being a developer to a entry level software engineer at another company. And
Yeah.
then the startup, it was that plus stuff. So it really got you out there. The other stuff is don't be afraid to learn something new. So I heard React. Why not pick up something else like Node? Go into Node.js and say, okay, now how can I take this on and
Yeah.
learn it? Don't be scared to do that because you're going to need to know it. And then other languages, to me, I love Ruby. I do. Like that's like my language. But Python is similar to that. I picked that up too. So learn those, don't be afraid to do that because if you continue to hold yourself back, you're not going to make it far.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's terrible to this thing. Don't feel afraid to apply for a job that you're not fully qualified for. I I do that, and that's actually how I got the promotion that I did. I knew I wasn't qualified for, being a manager. I knew being a project manager was probably gonna be challenging for me, but I've excelled and they took a chance on me. So
Awesome.
why not do that for yourself?
Awesome. Yeah, no, those are great tips. In this industry, always learning, always changing. You can't be afraid to take chances, and you're going to sprain your ankle once in a while. You're going to take new steps, and every once in a while you're going to sprain your ankle, but that's how you learn and grow. I think that's some great tips.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So once you have your first professional job, would you say the tips for success in the industry once you're in, are the
Mhm.
tips for success once you're in the industry, are they the same or do they differ at all?
Um, so a little different. I mean, yeah, still the same, but also learn to communicate. And I'll explain my experience so it doesn't sound bad. But my experience was I was very blunt and very abrupt when I would talk and say, well, this is the problem. Well, the people don't understand when you're talking higher up. You have to explain it to them. So learn to dumb it down. Don't talk so technical because if you can't, they're going to look at you as just a developer and that's it. They're
Yeah.
not going to see you as management type material or lead material. So try to talk and communicate with everybody, your average person who doesn't know coding.
Yeah. That's a great tip. It's a really great tip. That's a really great tip. I know people like that, and that intentionally talk above people's heads, and it often is not received well.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
not.
yeah. We're winding down here. Really, just one more question, and then I'll
Sure.
leave it up to my class. What kind of salary expectations, and I'm not asking your private salary, but what I would say is what kind of expectations, or what would you tell our students about, what they should shoot for, what, around salary?
So I actually go to like Glassdoor and look up like what a position in this area. So if you're shooting for an entry level developer,
Yep.
look up if you're going to a job interview, look it up and see what it is somebody at that company makes. Like FPL for us, we're in Florida, so we tend to pay a little bit less because we don't have state tax. So they're like, hey, we can not have to pay you. But other places like Tennessee, they have the same thing, but they'll pay you big money if you go live downtown. But look at the area too. Don't just look at the job title. Because if you're going to, let's say Miami, you'll get paid more than where I am because I'm 2 hours north of there.
Yeah.
So, you get paid a little bit less, but cost of living is a lot less too.
Yeah.
So
That's a
look
that's
at that.
that's a really good Glassdoor.
Yes.
I haven't used Glassdoor a lot, although I do stumble across it from time to time. And so, what's the idea behind that site? I mean, do people just post their own private salaries on it?
No, it's industry type things. So
Okay.
they kind of say, okay, this is what an average person at this company would make in this title.
Okay.
I think it's also anonymous too. You can post anonymously.
You can post anonymously.
Hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, I've seen that site. I'm not obviously over too familiar with it. So that's a really good resource. And then you mentioned cost of living. Is that just do your own research and kind of Google it and just figure
Yeah.
that out?
I only reason because Miami, I moved down there. I didn't realize how expensive it was going to be. I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, what? You want for not even a 700 square foot apartment, 1 bedroom, 1 bath was $1,000.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
what I had was huge in St. Louis. So I'm like, no,
Right.
I don't
Right.
want to pay that. So know what you're getting into. Like, especially if you're gonna go like I did, I went from St. Louis to Miami. That was crazy, So think about it before you do it and look at what is it gonna cost.
Yeah, I love it I love it when my graduates spread out. Now I can say, now I know, We go to St. Louis, to the West Coast, to the East Coast, down south. We're all over the place. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. I think your story is impressive. I'm impressed. I'm super happy for you. Congrats
Thanks.
on your success in your career. Anything else you want to leave with? You said a lot, so
I mean, if there's questions, feel free to ask. I mean,
for
I
my
can
class,
try.
we've been doing these all semester. So we do these alumni interviews, and this is the last day of the semester, right?
Oh, okay.
But you're about the ninth or 10th alumni interview, so I think they've probably learned quite a bit. Like for example, stand-ups. They've probably heard that 4 or 5 times by now. So
Yeah.
they probably know what a day in the life is like. They probably know they're going to start off with some meetings and some stand-ups, and then they
Yep.
progress into writing code or architecting or whatever else. So that's pretty cool. Questions? Yeah.
Even though you're in management, do you still have time to do your own side projects, or at least to keep up with the various languages that you've learned?
Yeah, good question. So the question is, do you still dabble with new languages even though you're more in management now?
I haven't done a lot of languages. I'll be honest, the green belt project I did about 4 years ago now. I'm doing the black belt, which is a huge step above it, but that is going to be my own time. And I will be working on that. And that takes, it's a 2-year effort to do 2 projects to get your black belt. And I have to explain how I came to my findings. So I guess mine is more on architect side versus, languages.
Yep.
But yes, I learned Mulesoft. I learned how to manipulate that software. And I'm actually learning some Adobe pieces as well. Some of the, not Creative Cloud, but they call it AEM. So it's a lot of the sites and stuff. That's
Okay.
what we use at our company. So just so I'm more informed on what's going on, because we're also going to start doing push notifications instead of email, voice, and text. So I'm learning that as well, just so I can keep up with my developers so I don't feel behind, I guess is
Awesome.
the best word for that.
Good question. Good question. Any other questions for Miss Catherine before we hit the stop button? All right, we're going to go ahead and stop the recording.